What's up, guys and gals? It's the Tyrant here, and welcome back to my Halo 5 Guardians Mythic Difficulty walkthrough. That's legendary, all skulls on, no saves, no deaths, and scoring applied. Today we're doing mission 13 entitled Genesis, and for the Mythic community, we largely agree that this is the easiest mission in the game. So if you're just getting your Mythic feet wet, this is an excellent place to start, primarily because you will be driving a Scorpion tank throughout most of the mission. I like this first part here. It's a little fun, a little exciting. You're running down the side of a Guardian, and they've changed the physics here a little bit, so it looks like you're going down, and it's a fun ride. Yeehaw! So essentially, you can actually make it through this part without firing a single shot, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. Now, if you want to be a little bit more careful, you can, of course, use your stabilizer, your smart scope with the battle rifle to take out crawlers and whatnot. I wouldn't recommend dealing with the soldiers since they will take a little bit more ammo, and of course you're not armed with any Promethean weapons, which is the preferred methodology for dealing with soldiers. So we're just going to keep going out of the way. If you want to pick up speed, what you can do is slide and jump while boosting, so that works pretty well. But yep, see, that was pretty short, didn't have to fire any shots at all. But we don't have any shields. That's not too big of a deal though, since again we're going to be in a Scorpion from here on out, from here till mission's end. And yes, that does include the Warden fights as well. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get there. I want to give a special shout out to Olenaki for figuring that one out, another very legendary member of our Mythic community. You might even say he is a Mythic member. And so we're going to go ahead and just jump in here where we meet our new friend, Exuberant Witness. I actually like this character, a very bubbly monitor, and I don't get the impression that she's going to try to kill us like 343 Guilty Spark. So that's always nice. So we just have to basically sit here and wait for a second for the elevator to descend. I have seen people actually skip the elevator descent. Not really sure why. Maybe it saves you a couple of seconds on a speed run, but it seems like it's not really worth the trouble. So again, we just got to wait here. If you want to, there are weapons in crates that are around where the tank will be spawning. You can grab a light rifle if you choose as a secondary weapon. I'd recommend keeping your battle rifle. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, you can actually make it from start to finish in this mission without firing a single shot. And the cannon on the Scorpion tank does not count because vehicles do not count in zero-shot runs. So we're going to be attempting to do that very same thing today. This will actually be the first zero-shot run, or zero-shot mythic run I've done on Halo 5 Guardians. Heck, this might be the first zero-shot run, period. So you have to watch out for that ghost around the corner. There should be another one as well. Just keep your eyes out. There we go. That wasn't too difficult. Your ally should back you up with a secondary gun. You'll have your other two allies hopefully on the wings of the tank, or on the tank treads, I should say. That's a little bit more accurate. So go ahead and keep going forward. There are no enemies until you reach the end of this platform. Then you're going to see a soldier captain spawn in with a splinter turret, as well as a few crawlers. If you're lucky enough, you might be able to hit the captain dead on and launch him further away and make him the Covenant's problem. But we were not able to do that this time around, so we have to deal with him. Now, of course, you don't want your tank to take too much damage here because you're going to need it throughout the entire throughout the entirety of this mission. And it's going to be very critical when going up against the Warden Eternal, especially since there are 3 of them total in this mission. There's one where it's pretty much just a gimme. He stands there. He's got a couple of focus turrets helping him out. And then, of course, you've got the twin Wardens at the end of the mission. So, yep, go ahead and take out that focus turret right there. Hold back just a little bit. There is a Wraith and one enemy Ghost that you need to deal with. The Ghost is closer and the Wraith is occupied, so go for the Ghost first, then shoot the Wraith. The shots of the Wraith aren't that difficult to avoid, especially from this distance, because you can see the Wraith mortar coming pretty quickly. So not a big deal there. So first Wraith is down. In this next area, you're primarily going to be dealing with Promethean Knights. There is a grunt in the back corner with a fuel rod cannon, so just be wary of him as well. But typically on Mythic, he'll be taken out by the Prometheans. You also want to steer clear of that Phaeton. Again, usually the Phaeton will take the blunt of most of the damage here. It should only take one direct hit from the Scorpion. Sometimes it takes 2 depending on where you actually do hit the Phaeton, and it can be a little bit difficult from this distance since the tank shell has a bit of a curvature to it. So the Phaeton is down. Again, just clear this area. I have seen people actually speed run this, and that's pretty impressive, but if you do try to speed run it in a Ghost, that means you're not going to have a tank for the Warden bosses, so it's not something that I would recommend, especially on Mythic, and especially given the fact that right now we have no shields. Your shields aren't really that difficult to get back, especially with crawlers in the area, as there are quite a few crawlers as well, but you do have knights, and especially one is going to spawn right there in the middle. It's a knight captain, and he will have an incineration cannon, so definitely be wary of this guy. Sometimes they get a little bit aggressive, so as soon as you see those little blue ripples right there, those little slip space ruptures, go ahead and back up. Make sure that you are not in the path of that knight captain. So in this area you can pretty much destroy everything. I would recommend hanging back because those Prometheans, even the knights, can close the distance faster than you think. The knights themselves can actually launch themselves using one of their little superpowers, similar to what we saw in Halo 4. So as you saw just a second ago, that is a fuel rod gun fired by the grunt that's hiding on the other side of that rock formation, so just be aware of him too. I have been taken off guard by him in the past when I proceeded forward but did not look back. That is the knight captain. We want to take him out as quickly as possible, and he is really the biggest threat in the area. There's one more at the end, but we can get him from far away. Since this guy spawns up close, we want to take him out first because he can use both splinter rounds as well as a full-blown incineration cannon blast whenever he wants to, and those do quite a bit of damage, especially to our tank right here. So here you go, just hang back a little bit. It's really easy to take these guys out, especially when they're pretty far away. They tend not to dodge very much. They just stay in one place. Not really sure if that's a glitch with the game. But we saw something similar to that with Halo 3, where if you were a far enough distance, they wouldn't even try dodging your shots. And so you can take advantage of that here too. The nice thing about going up against knights with the incineration cannon is if you're far enough away, they can't really hit you. Of course, the rest of the knights in this game have scatter shots, and they have pretty much the same weakness. With the main one in their particular case, the fact that they can't even really do much damage to you at all, at least unless you just sit there and let them do whatever it is that they want to do. So again, we're just hanging back right here, taking out these knights. There's a couple more left. Got some crawlers as well. It's a boring mission, I will admit that, but it is the easiest one, and it gets you a little bit accustomed to having all 13 skulls on legendary difficulty. So again, we're just taking our time here. Now, if you're not sure where the reticle is, unlike in previous Halo games, the reticle is in the center of the screen. Now, while in previous Halo games, the reticle is typically in the center of the screen for vehicles, usually it's about an inch below the center for your standard gun. But here, the vehicle reticle is in the same exact location as your standard gun reticle. So we're going to go ahead and take out this knight. If you notice over there on the left, there is a sword ghost. A lot of speedrunners will use that to get to the end of the level fairly quickly via speedrunning. And you can take that if you want to. In fact, if you would like, you can actually juggle that in the tank into the next area. And if you're able to do that, then you'll have a nice steady ghost to get you from there to the end of the mission. However, I will say that if you interact with vehicles, your allies are more likely to try to hijack them for themselves and get them destroyed, and we really do need to keep a ghost intact. So now we're moving on to the next area right here. You can equip your allies with Promethean weapons if you'd like. It really doesn't matter at this point, to be honest with you. We're just going to make it through and try to slowly but surely grind this thing out. It's not too difficult, and of course this is only the second mission in the game, the second mission of only 2 missions where you get to drive a Scorpion tank. So, alright, be careful around this bend right here. There's going to be a ghost that shows up as well as a banshee. The ghost is usually going to be a lot more aggressive when it comes to trying to deal with you, so you want to take out the ghost first. The banshee will sort of go back and forth a little bit if you're hiding behind this rock right here. If you're out in the open, the banshee will start getting pretty aggressive and might fuel rod gun your tank. Obviously, we don't want that to happen because we already have a little bit of fire on the tank's cannon, so we already know that the tank's taking quite a bit of damage here. So alright, at least we got the banshee out. Wait till it's darting directly towards you, then line up your shot and take it. It only takes 1 hit from the Scorpion's main cannon. So right up here you're going to have a focus turret spawn. Again, easy to take out. If you wait till the vents are open, either on the front or the sides, it only takes 1 hit. Now be careful going over this bend because there are 2 wraiths. One is fairly close to you, the other is directly behind it. If a wraith is going to hit you in this mission, odds are it's going to be one of these 2, so you want to be very careful taking them out. It doesn't hurt to have your tank going sideways because it's a lot easier to dodge the wraith's rounds that way, but again, you can just back up as well. Do try to predict the trajectory of the shots. It's a good thing I moved to the right on that one because he almost got me there. So again, start moving up slowly. You'll want to take note there is an empty ghost over there on the right. You do not want your allies taking that ghost, and you don't want to destroy it because you may need it later. There is a second ghost that's empty up ahead where there is currently a wraith stationed, or will be in a few minutes, but you don't want to take that one either. Basically, keep the ghosts around because you're going to need that later on. So slowly take these guys out. There's not much to deal with here. There's a couple of grunts, a couple of jackals, and one warrior elite. That guy's going to be a pain in the butt. And for a second there, I thought I knocked him out of the map, but he comes right back. I think I just knocked him onto the bridge, just out of view. And he can be quite a handful. He actually has a plasma caster, so be very careful of that guy. Once we start spawning these guys up to here, it's going to be one focus turret and a regular knight. So take your time. This guy just has a scatter shot. He's not a big deal. If you want to focus on the elite, because that way it'll give the soldier or the knight a few good shots in there, so you might be able to take out the elite easier. The elite is harder to deal with because he has regenerating shields. Whatever damage you do to the knight will stay there unless there's a watcher around. In this case, there is not, so you don't have to worry about the knights being regenerated at all. So go ahead and just hang back, deal with the knight nice and slow, and you should be in relatively good shape. If you can't see the elite, again, just be very careful here, because the first time I actually tried doing this mission on Mythic, he was hiding in the back. I had knocked him out of the map, but he was still technically able to hit me with a plasma caster. It didn't destroy my tank, but it really lit it up. So again, just be very careful, making sure there's nothing here you need to worry about. It looks like we're pretty good to go right there. Elite's already been taken out. And so when you move up here, there's going to be a knight commander that spawns. Be very careful here. I said knight captain before. It's a commander, I believe. So again, just go ahead and back up. This guy is pretty aggressive and will chase you like crazy. And he goes nuts with his incineration cannon. So try to be aware of where he is. It seems like they do less damage if they hit you in the back or the side as opposed to the front. I don't know how accurate that is, but we've already taken 3 blasts, and it doesn't look like make that 4 blasts, and our tank isn't like fully in flames yet. Usually the final step before your tank is about to blow up completely is the whole thing's engulfed in flames. And of course, Exuberant just sort of warned us right there that we're starting to run low, so we have to play it very carefully from here on out. So that guy's gone. That's probably the biggest threat we're going to have to deal with throughout the rest of the mission. Yes, the other knights in the area can get a bit aggressive as well, and we do have a Phaeton in the next area, so just be aware of those guys. But for the most part, as long as you pace yourself, the biggest threats are already off the table. So we're going to move up here. This bridge has a nice vantage point for all the enemies in this area. Again, it's a Phaeton. You're going to have a few knights here, and there is a wraith that's hiding just beyond those rocks. You absolutely do not want to approach that area with the wraith still intact, because he will level you pretty quickly. He's got a pretty fast response time there. So just be very aware that the wraith is there. Now, a second wave of Promethean knights will spawn. There's usually, I think, 4 of them, and they'll primarily focus on the wraith. So they should be able to take it out, and then you can just deal with the knights, which is the preferred method for doing this. You can usually tell pretty easily, but if you're not entirely sure, I'm going to show you a little easy method of sneaking around at a fairly safe distance, just to be on the safe side, because again, we don't want our tank taking any more hits, especially if we're going to be going up against 3 Warden Eternals. Alright, so again, I'm just taking my time here. These guys are sort of taunting me in the distance. Smart move on their part. Not really. And so now we just got this guy right here. Once he's down, we should be able to move forward to spawn in the next wave of knights, and they will hopefully both engage and destroy the wraith cannon that's right there, just to the left of those rocks, right behind that rock formation right there. So we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and move forward. Oh, there is a ghost there. I almost forgot about him. Hiding in plain sight. Very smart move. Didn't last him too long, though. He should have taken off when he saw my scorpion, because everyone knows that tank beats ghost. So again, once these guys start warping in, feel free to back up when you get a chance. I'm just making sure that I can back up rather than having to turn the tank around. So that should work pretty well. So there are several knights that'll spawn right there. You can go ahead and start attacking them if you want to. Just keep in mind that sometimes they do get a little aggressive and they will charge your location. Really, you do want their main focus to be on the Wraith over here, and so far it seems to be working quite well. One of those knights is a commander. I keep wanting to say captain. Those are soldiers. And so this guy, he's already starting to chase us up here. I think he has an incineration cannon, so we want to be very careful. I'm pretty sure that's the knight commander that's chasing us right now, so we don't want to make the same mistake we did with the last one. We want to have a little bit of distance for us there, so he's just hanging back. Not a big deal. He's not going any further than this. I think he might be scripted to stay in the area unless you are too close to him, but so far it seems to be going okay. So again, we're just going to take it nice and slow. He's the only thing we've got to worry about. I think I see his head right there, but it might just be a piece of the bridge. Better safe than sorry. So I don't see anything reacting. I don't hear any Promethean armor breaking. So we're going to go ahead and just advance. If he's still around there, that's fine. We'll deal with him. At least there's some distance between one side of the bridge and the other. So we should be relatively okay. And yep, he's just chilling right there. He's got his incineration cannon aimed at the sky, so we can use his splinter mode. And it looks like he's making his way over here now. Oh, and he's got a friend. All right, let's go ahead and deal with this guy real quick since he's closer. We're just driving back, taking it nice and simple. The Promethean, oh, they're all here. Okay. I guess that means they took out the Wraith. That's good news for us because that Wraith is more troubling than these guys. So the commander is gone. We'll go ahead and focus on the regular knights now. Should only be this guy left, and maybe there's another one over there on the other side. I think 4 of them spawn in, and this is only 3 of them that we've dealt with. So that's 3 right there. We're going to go ahead and check and see if we've already taken care of the other guy. I think we're in pretty good shape so far. So we're just going to go ahead and peek our heads on this bridge area. This is the only way they can get up here is going the long way, so we're in pretty good shape. Okay, so there's one more left. He's making his way up here now. Looks like he's only got a scatter shot, so I'm not too concerned about him. But we still don't want the tank to take too much damage because we got hit quite a few times by the incineration cannon. Alright, so waiting for him to come up. There he is. He's taking his sweet time. He's taking the scenic route is what he's doing. Alright, so that should be all the knights. We can go ahead and advance to the next area. I'm going to take a quick peek just to make sure that the ghost where the Wraith is usually parked is still intact, so we can use that ghost later on. And I'm going to show you why in a little bit. So it looks like the ghost is fine, which is great. Now be very cautious going around this corner right here because there's a Wraith right on the other side. Should be your last real opposition before going up against the Warden. So just sort of peek your head out enough so that you can dodge the blasts very easily. So that wasn't a big deal. He overshot that one completely. Wraith is down for the count, so there's nothing left over here. So what we need to do now is trigger the Warden. Now what you can do, and what I'd recommend so you don't get your tank too damaged, is go ahead and hop out of the tank. Don't worry, they're not going to drive off with it. That actually sort of works against you in a way, but in this particular scenario, I'm glad I don't have to babysit my allies. It gets to be kind of a pain in the butt after a while, especially since during my first run, my guys managed to hijack all the ghosts, so I could not do this trick later. So go ahead and run across the bridge on foot. This will trigger the Warden Eternal, along with 2 focus turrets. Go ahead and sprint back. Hopefully your tank is parked behind this slab of rock over here that should shield you from the Warden's primary attacks, which is his phase laser and his slip space bomb. So, so far we're in pretty good shape. I see the thing coming over here, but it looks like it's going a little too low. Thank you, Cliffside, for letting me dodge that one right there. So with the focus turret out of the way, we can just focus on the Warden. He is not going to advance to the bridge. I've never seen him do that. Maybe there's a way to get him to. I'm sure General Kidd could figure it out, or General Heed. So we should be in pretty good shape. We're just going to sit here, keep aiming at his head, and he should go down fairly easily. This really isn't so much a boss fight, just as much as it is to show you how powerful the tank is when it goes up against the Warden Eternal. So again, we're just taking it nice and slow. Each time you damage him, his slip space weak spot will open up a little bit, and there he goes. When he goes down, the focus turrets do as well, but you typically do want to take out the focus turret that's in your line of sight just so that you don't get tagged by it. So here's where things get interesting. We want to take the tank to the final fight. You're not supposed to be able to do it. That's why the terrain is designed the way it is, and this is where that ghost comes in handy. So if you want your allies to stay in the vehicle, you need to actually be in a vehicle yourselves, or at least since we're trying to teleport the tank, that does seem to be the case. Now, unfortunately, what you also have to do is kill 2 of your allies. I'm not sure why exactly this is the case, but if you don't do this, the tank most of the time will not teleport when you want it to. So that's 2 of our allies. Before they respawn in, quickly make your way back to the tank, order our remaining Spartan, which in this case I believe is Tanaka, and she will get in the secondary seat, and as long as she stays in there, when you get far enough ahead, she will teleport, and she will teleport the tank with her. For some reason, if you have your other allies alive and they're not on the tank, it will not work. So go ahead and take the Ghost up here. Again, you've got to be in the Ghost for this to work. As far as I know, you cannot do this on foot. So we're taking the Ghost over here, and we're going to go ahead and just go all the way to the Warden fight over here. It's going to be 2 Warden Eternals, and he's got a lot of allies. So again, I'm just trying to make sure that we're in good shape. Now, if you do want to go about this on foot, there is a heavy machine gun here. It's a version of the saw. It's called the Answer, and it shoots explosive rounds. It's very effective on standard legendary. Not sure how effective it's going to be on mythic difficulty, but on standard legendary, it's fairly accurate. So again, I'm just making sure my tank spawns in. Usually it's going to be on the hill right behind me. I do want to go ahead and deal with these guys first because I don't want my tank taking too much damage. Oh, and they tagged me. I did not expect that to happen. Fortunately, Tanaka's right there. Good, that means the tank is with her. So I'm going to go ahead and get my shields back right here, courtesy of the crawler. And yep, tank is right up here. So it worked in just fine. So we can use the tank to take out both Warden Eternals. And it should be fairly simple. Typically, his minions will not advance to your tank except for those opening ones right there. And there's going to be a mixture of different allies. He's going to essentially have mostly crawlers. He'll have a few soldiers and a few Promethean knights. So be careful. Sometimes the 2 copies of the Warden do like to hide, and it gets a little bit frustrating when that happens. That's okay. So it looks like Tanaka decided to take a ride in the Ghost. I'm completely fine with that, or that might be Buck. But it looks like 1 Warden is right there out in the open. This is fantastic, so he should go down pretty quickly. Usually the first Warden isn't much of a problem. The other one spawns directly on the other side. There's a lot of symmetry here, so he spawns in the same location but on the other side of the map. Sometimes you'll get lucky and neither Warden will move very much, but usually after you've taken out the first one, the second Warden gets a little bit more dodgy. So again, we're just taking our time here, going ahead and taking him out. And I'm not sure how many blasts it takes. Again, I think you've got to make sure you're either hitting him in the head or his weak spot in the back. And I think it's 5 times even on Mythic, but I'm not entirely sure on this one. But either way, you shouldn't have to worry about him. With this distance right here, he won't be able to attack you. So we should be almost down for the count. Should be another shot. There we go. Okay, first Warden is down. Yes, it is that simple. So for the second Warden, again, he's going to start getting a little bit more cautious typically. You might get lucky sometimes. It'll just hang out in the open like the first guy. But other times, he's going to start taking cover. In this particular scenario, just hanging back isn't really going to work anymore. So what you're going to want to do if you're not able to hit the Warden directly is you're going to want to start taking out his minions, specifically the knights. They're your biggest threat. If it's starting to really become a pain in the butt, you can also send your allies up there and flush them out that way as well. The only problem with that is he will get closer to you and it'll be easier for him to use his weapons against you. So just remember that. And also his face laser has EMP abilities. So if he hits you with it, it'll freeze your tank. Now fortunately, this Warden isn't as aggressive as the Mythic Wardens from Firefight mode or Warzone Firefight, so he can't like double shot you and constantly just keep shooting his face laser at you. He's got to let it cool down first. So again, just take your time right here. If you think you spot him, great. And apparently that rock did something wrong because I decided to hit that too. But we're hitting him again. He's probably going to change spots a couple of times, but fortunately this seems to be going fairly decently so far. The tank still has some juice left, so we're pretty good on that. We can probably take some damage from the Warden. We definitely don't want one of his bombs hitting us because that could be a complete killer right there. But his face laser shouldn't do too much damage. So again, we're just going to take our time right here. There's the knight. Let's go ahead and take him out. Clear out some of these enemies. Once you've cleared out enough of them, what's going to happen is some soldiers will spawn in the back. They're soldier captains. They'll have splinter turrets. So just be aware of them. So again, just taking our time right here. Again, if the warden's still hiding out, we've already done quite a bit of damage to him. But you can always send your allies in to flush him out, which we're going to start having to do. If you want to, you can just start taking out other enemies while you're waiting for your allies to flush them out, just to help even the odds a little bit more. That way, if you do need to run in there, you can. Now, like I said, if it gets to a point where you cannot deal with him with the tank because he's hiding too well, and you absolutely have to go in there with conventional weaponry, use the saw, aka the answer in this one, because that will help you out quite a bit, especially if you've already significantly weakened him. Then that should help quite a bit. So again, we're sending our allies in there just to flush them out a little bit. Be very careful because, again, if he starts dropping those spirit bomb things on you, then you're going to have a sort of an issue. So we're taking our time right here. I'm just going ahead and dealing with these soldiers. He's sort of pouncing all over the place because of the physics. He's strong enough that he can withstand at least 1 or 2 scorpion rounds. But it's fun seeing him actually get launched up to the platform right there. Don't know if he would teleport back down or if him being outside the map would cause any issues with that, but it wouldn't surprise me one way or the other. So again, we're just taking our time here, waiting for that warden to eventually get tired of sitting there doing nothing, letting his minions fight his battles for him. Doesn't seem like something a Warden Eternal with a few million bodies would do. So hopefully he'll come out in just a second. Again, we're getting our allies up there to try to flush him out. Usually he starts getting irritated if they're within view, and sometimes he'll charge him with his sword. So we're taking our time. I've said that like 50 times at this point. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what this part of the mission is. It's a waiting game more than anything else. You're going to be doing a lot of waiting if you want to make sure you succeed correctly. It's just making sure the warden is getting into the right positions. So he's getting a little aggressive there. He's starting to charge, and yep, saw that coming. Now the ghost is down for the count. That's okay. The ghost really wasn't all that necessary. It's not very effective against the Warden Eternal. And so, but we did get a few good shots off of him, so hopefully he'll meander back out again. Now, even if he doesn't, again, that's fine. We'll just send our allies in to try to irritate him a little bit more, and then we should have another clear shot. He shouldn't have much health left at this point. Like I said, if you're feeling a little brave, you can go ahead and grab that saw, or again, it's called the answer. It's a very special saw, and you can go in for the kill, but I would not do that unless your allies are there to help you. That's going to be your big thing here. So we're just trying to line up the shots at this point. And still waiting, getting our allies back up there, seeing if we can go ahead and just make this quick. Should not be too difficult. Again, we just want to be a little careful though, because if he starts getting too aggressive, he charges the tank directly, we're not going to be able to take him out. So while we're waiting, again, just go up against his enemies or his minions, and that should be fine. But looks like right now he's just parked in the back, which is good. Hopefully there's enough distance between us and the warden that he's not going to try dodging out of the way. He might walk back and forth a little bit, but hopefully this should be enough. Now again, if his allies start getting too aggressive, if his minions start, fast or rushing your tank, take care of them first. As far as I know, the knights here are only regular knights, so they only have scatter shots. So they shouldn't be able to do too much damage unless, they really start getting up on your grill like this one is right here. So we got to go ahead and deal with him pretty quick because he looks like he's ready to charge the tank. He knows the warden's about to fall, and he wants to make sure that that does not happen. He's a good little soldier. I mean knight. So again, it doesn't look like he's moving at this point, so you should be able to take him out just by hanging back here and firing whatever you have at him. And essentially, that's going to be the mission right there. We're just going to go ahead and take our time a little bit more. I had to say it one more time, didn't I? And he's starting to get, he's disappearing again. Is he going to wander back out? or are we going to have to draw him back up here? It looks like we're going to have to send our allies in again. Like I said, at least you know this method is safe. Your allies will spawn in, I think, roughly 90 seconds after they disappear. It's 60, 90 seconds. I'm not really sure exactly what the time is on that. It's enough time for you to pull off the teleportation trick. That much I do know. So again, we're just sitting back here waiting for this guy to charge back up. If you see that they're getting attacked by the Warden, go ahead and just send them back your way, and then you shouldn't have too many issues. So yep, the Warden's a little bit mad now, but it shouldn't be too much longer. It looks like, oh boy, okay, he's getting really antsy now. Okay, so we're taking our time. Had to get one more in there, just one more. He is definitely pissed. Like at this point, he's like, no, I'm not hanging back anymore. You've hurt my feelings. And that is the final Warden boss battle made easy. Now, it will take a couple of seconds, I think, for his allies to disappear, but once you do, that's the end of the mission. That is Genesis on Mythic. So what did you think about it? Do you think this is a good first mission for you to try when you're on your very own Mythic quest? I'd like to tell you what you think the easiest part of this mission is and the toughest. You can let me know in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter at MythicTyrant. A link to my Twitter feed can be found in the description below. And if you like this video and want to see more, I hope you'll consider subscribing to this website for more great content right here on MythicTyrant.com. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I'll catch you all right back here next time. And as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.